Okay, we are live. Yep, thank you all for attending. Got some interesting stuff to talk about as usual. Most of humanity's process is that they're deluded. They're under illusion. Yeah. You look at history and you go, wow, that must have been well planned. You know, we've gone through so much. We've gone all the way from being Cro-Magnon man and building trains and, you know, doing all the things that we've done. Yeah, there's got to be some kind of plan involved in that. Yeah, no plan at all. Not even a little plan. Not even any kind of plan. Yeah, basically what it is, it's human nature. And it's the human process, the process that we're doing, whatever we're doing, we're creating what we're creating here on Earth. And that doesn't necessarily mean that there's a plan. There's a working out of a plan. Yeah. But what's going on is planned in a way, but it's only planned as capitalism, to capitalize on labor. And whether it be slaves or, you know, the materials of a given country, the oil, you know, the water, you know, out of an area where there's very little water, but they choose to grow as much as you possibly want, and because they're capitalizing, they've got the money, they own the land. And the politicians, they're real rich too. They're up there with all the rest of the rich people running the industries like Elon Musk and Amazon and everything. So you see all these, that's our world, that's our history. When we look back, we look at the shit they did, not what we did. Yeah, you look at the shit they did. Yeah, and our process, you really got to look into it. You know, you got to look for a lot of other stuff. You know, and so basically, what I'm going to be showing you now is the outcome of no plan. Yeah. And bad planning on top of no planning. Yeah. And independent planning that is all coming together as though it looks like it's a plan. But in reality, it's just really bad planning that is going on in large ways, and it created really bad problems. And you won't see this problem until the year 2050. How's that working? Okay. Is it okay? Okay, great. So you won't see what I'm talking about until the year 2050. At that time, the world will be destroyed in the way that you know it. Yeah? The economic situation, the amount of labor destruction, the death, the population out of control, the way in which the illusionary process of humanity's really bad planning is going to make an effect. And it will make its full effect around 2050. Yeah. The largest country that has the largest population, they got India and we've got China. Well, let's just look at China, because we can't really look at India. Yeah, it doesn't really put together any information. You know, it's bad, all bad. Every bit of it is bad. You know, it's corrupt in the business, it's corrupt in the industry, it's corrupt in politics, and its religion is the worst on the planet. Yeah, so that's pretty bad. So really, where I come from ain't worth talking about. Not worth talking about, because they're not going to make any difference other than a drain on the world. Yeah, a drain on the world. Yeah, because they don't want to make a difference. They don't want to change their religion. They don't want to change their political arena. They don't want to change this and that. And all they want is money. That's what they want. They want money. Everybody wants money. Yeah. And only a few are going to get it. Yeah, those people who are running this thing. Yeah, and it's all industry. Yeah, what runs this world is industry. Yeah, So we look at pollution. Where's the pollution coming from? It's coming from industry. You know, the car industry, the oil industry wouldn't allow us to build electric cars in 1970 when I was building electric cars, when I was at Stanford, yeah, when I was at Berkeley, when I was at San Diego State, yeah, going back and forth to all these universities throughout California trying to develop the electric car, yeah, working in the engineering program and physics program, yeah, even in sociology and psychology, to try and motivate people in thinking that we need to make a better plan than the one that's going on. Yeah, that doesn't mean we need Elon Musk. We need another industry. We need a singular person to save our ass in this plan. No, it's going to be millions of opportunities that will come up in people's lives to build new forms of transportation. Rather than, you know, the fastest car, the biggest wheels, Elon Musk, oh yeah, I can get you to 0 to 60 in 8.1 seconds, 2.1 seconds, 1.1 seconds, hot zero. You're already there. Did you notice it? Did you see it? It's a joke. It's a joke. You're being used by an individual. Not by mass, not by God, not by us as a bunch of people having a great idea and following through, yeah. But by dictators, a whole bunch of little freaking dictators, yeah, yeah. People who run these industries, people who run Apple, yeah, people who run Amazon, yeah, people who run any of these big industries. They go from one person to the next, and CEO or whatever, but they're so diluted and so out of touch with any form of reality. Their only reality is money. And that money isn't just money. It's quota. High quota. Enormous amount of quota. Yeah. Just take any of these industries, any one of them. Yeah. And what are they doing? Yeah. If we're going to get computers, we're going to use those computers to monitor people and make sure they're working harder. If we're going to have robots, we're going to make sure people are working harder. And the robots aren't really doing the job. It's the people. Yeah? And we're under delusion. They're telling us, oh yeah, it's all going to get better and we're all going to have these robots working for us and it's all going to be like, we're really great. You're going to be like a rich person. No, none of us is going to be like a rich person. That's absolutely insane. Yeah. All we really need is a normal life. But we're far from it. 100% far from it. Yeah. Because people are nuts. People are crazy. Yeah. Countries are crazy. Individuals are crazy. Generation after generation, we come from previous generation. All the people of the Hitler Youth are now reincarnated in the 70s on. From 1960 through 1970s, any time within there, from early 50s to the 70s, these are all the millions and millions of Hitler Youth. And where do you think they're going to go? Back to Germany? No way. They're heading for America. Yeah, they're heading for freedom. Just what they were told as a German Hitler Youth. Yeah, they have no idea they were the German Hitler Youth. They're people that think that they're special. Remember the German Hitler Youth? Yeah, they were told that they are the Aryan race. Yeah, the future of the world. Yeah. We're not talking about, some plan or something. We're talking about a dictator who went crazy and made everybody believe that they're of an Aryan race. Just like Trump, trying to tell, we're going to make America great. And you're going to be Trumpians. And you don't know that he's telling you you're going to be the Aryan race. He looks at all his children and he goes, the only reason my family is what they is because we did genetic control. No black people here, no Asians here. These are all white. All white. 100%. Yeah? We married into a Jew, but that doesn't make us Jews. Yeah? We can be Italian, we can be mafia, as long as we're white. Genetic control. Yeah? And that's that guy. That's just our president, the Trumpian ideology. That lower mind. It takes very little brains to think that we can control the system of humanity by controlling the genes. Kill all the homosexuals, kill all the slightly deviated people, people with, too long of a finger, people with cleft lip, people that are seemingly retarded, but we just aren't scientifically capable of understanding that there are different people. There are mongoloids. You grab a whole bunch of mongoloids and they're the nicest people you're ever going to hang with. And they're very much the same. They're people, a certain kind of people. Yeah? And we need to give it time to get to know these people. They're not retarded. They're mongoloids. And there are a whole series of other genetically controlled situations that allow people to be different mentally, emotionally, and physically. It just is. We don't have a lot of control over it. But we need to understand it. Yeah? We need to know that, we need to give support to the mongoloid and help the mongoloid realize that they can work, that they can go to school, they can get married. It's okay to have children. If you really feel the need, we're not going to do anything like Hitler would to control the genetic stream of having another mongoloid on the earth. Yeah. We have doctors here. We have lots of crazy-ass people that did hysterectomies and all vasectomies and all kinds of things of both men and women in order to do a genetic control on our human race. We have very little understanding that that's really what went on in the 50s and the 60s, even in the 70s. You go to a doctor and tell him, I'm upset, I'm sad. Oh, you need a hysterectomy. You bleed too much. You need a hysterectomy. Tie your tubes. That'll do it. That'll fix it. Or other symptoms that they would then diagnose and say, we got to go in. We'll fix it. And while they're in there, they tie your tubes. This happened a lot. Look it up. Look it up. It was normal in America. It was normal in Germany. It was normal in England. It was normal. Normal. Yeah? And, you don't get crazy on me. Don't think, oh, that's God's plan. It's not God's plan. It's a bad plan. It's a bad plan. We make a lot of freaking mistakes, and we're going to pay for them. We're going to pay for them. Through ignorance, through propaganda, just by not knowing, just by having this shit go on. But I'm going to do everything I can to educate you into the shit that is going on. We got a two-sided world right now. We got millennials out there who we believe don't want to work. They just want to hang out and get in vans and go drive around and take pictures and carry a rainbow flag. Even though they're not gay, they're definitely into the gay. They won't go against them at all. That's what we think, but that's not true. It's not true. It is what it is, but it's better to know the truth. These millennials are millennials. They are just millennials. They're the reincarnated generation of a group of people, which is not that great. Because we come from a really bad previous generation. War, world war, nuclear war, spies, murder, espionage, pretty bad shit. What would be your character that would fall in line to that? Look at all the people that joined the military just because they wanted to kill someone and get away with it, make it legal. All the people who became police and corrupt police and killed people and hung black people and did it as a cop. We lived through that. The 40s, the 30s, the 50s, the 60s. We lived through it. Yeah? And it doesn't matter if you're in America or Australia or New Zealand or England. Yeah? People are stupid and crazy and they make bad decisions. And when they're angry, can you imagine what level of bad decisions people will make? In China, they decided that since they're dictators and they control the whole of the nation, they said, well, look, every single one of you, you're only going to have one child. And you have more than one child, will kill you. Really, that'll threaten you. Yeah, but that's what they did. They put you in prison. They kill you. They threaten you. They make your life not worth living. You fall in line. Yeah? And by the time you get, and this is 1985, 1986. Yeah? Before that, they were taking over Tibet. Ending any kind of religious dogma because it would get in the way of their dictatorship, of creating a communist country. Yeah. And a communist country, they delude you to think, oh, we're all working together. We're going to share. We're all working together. Everybody's going to be okie dokie here. We're all working together. But that's not true. It's not true. The politicians are richer than shit. Poor people are poor. And it's always going to be like that. Just the way it is. But you delude yourself to think that it's not. Yeah. And then they talk to you, and they keep talking to you, and they tell you, oh, you're a lawyer. Join the family. Join the family. Yeah? You've gone to school, now you're a lawyer. Now you're in the family of lawyers. You're in the family. So now you're dedicated. Now how hard are you going to work in that family? You're not working for yourself. You're not working to help another person. You're inside of a terrible illusion that you've made it into this family, a collective group of idiots that all share, that we are special. The law offices of somber and drunk. Just idiots, drunken, vile idiots, bunch of lawyers. That's what we see, And they're just smoking cigars and they're assholes and they care nothing about the law. They're speechwriters. They debate. That's all they do. They debate. They don't care if the person broke the law or didn't break the law. They're going to debate. Yeah? They're either on the devil's side or on the angel's side. They're going to debate. It doesn't matter what they're going to debate. What matters is that their debate wins. They persuade you enough to believe that this is true. Yeah. And you join this group, and you join the doctor group. Yeah. You can even join the plumber group. Holy crap, you probably go to the bar, the plumber bar, Cops go to the cops bar. Truly, I'm not kidding. This is really serious shit. Crazy ass, nutty stuff. There is no plan in this, people. We do not have an agreement with God that this is all right. We do not. God had nothing to do with it. This is all done by people. God had nothing to do with any of this. We're just breathing. That we can say God has to do with it. We have a life. That we can say God has to do with it. And God gave us life. That we can say God has. But what happens after we take our first breath is totally up to us. God's not a dictator. God does not rule. God does not control. God does not manipulate. God does not lay a plan that you must follow without any kind of, choice. It's just not like that. Yeah? God believes in spirituality and the chakras and your orientation toward change and your ability to heal, and stop making these terrible decisions, and stop having politicians who are really just a bunch of highly rich people. In order to be a politician, to be the president, to be a senator, to be a governor, you got to have millions of dollars. You must be a millionaire. You must. To even get in the game. You can't even get in the game without having millions of dollars that's been funded to you or you have personally. You have to be a millionaire. So you're not there supporting the people. You're not there for the people. Yeah? It's just not that way. I don't care if you're Pelosi. You got a jet. How the hell does she get a jet? Nobody cares. Yeah? This is wrong. All of this is wrong. So why am I saying all this? Yeah? We know it's wrong. Yeah? But what is the effect of it? What is the effect of it? What is going on? Yeah? What's really going on? Yeah? We give birth to children. China gave birth to one child per family member since 1985 on. Now look around, all China. Whoa, what do you got? 37 million more men than women. 37 million more men than women. Oh boy, that's going to be a good day. Yeah, you know how marriage goes. Yeah, it's easy. Marriage is easy, right? Especially when you're the pick of the litter and you got so many to choose from. You can just make it easy. This is like a dream marriage, family, life. No, it's gone. Forget it. They bought that out, sold it, gone. By the time you get to the year 2030, a good 1/4 of the entire, this is the largest number of people in the whole world, 1/4 of the people of China are going to be elderly, have no income whatsoever, and need help. Need help. And there are no nurses. Why? Well, let's look into that story. What happens when you make people not have babies? What happens? The normalness of life is that we have babies. And we have 2 to 2.5 children per family. So that as we go along, we reproduce the people that are incarnated. Yeah? Without that, it all becomes staggering. And more people that come back and don't get to fulfill themselves, they go someplace else. Places they don't really want to be. Doing things they really don't want to be doing. Yeah? So we look at the world today, look at China. What's going on in China? Here you got fewer young people. Yeah? 1985 to now. Well, how old would they be? 25, 30? Yeah? Yeah, that'd be the average age. What's going on with those people in China? Yeah? Are they living a good life? There's so few of them. Yeah? Are they making better money? No. Are they having good employment? No. Are they working 40-hour weeks? Having vacations, paid vacations? Are they able to, have a family? Did that change? Yeah, and it did. Just recently, they have asked everybody to start having 2 children or more. Yeah, whatever you want. But it's too late. It's too late. They will be in complete doom by the year 2050. The whole of China will be in complete doom. Now, why is that? Why is that? Because right now, we have all the youth who are coming from that little child group, one child per family, now they're all slaves. Every single one of them are slaves. And they're working, China has come up with something called 996. Come to work at 9, leave work at 9, do that 6 days a week. 996. 996. Yeah. What happens? They die. They fall over. They pass out on the train, on their way home, in their car, on the job. 600,000 Chinese young people die every year from overwork. 996. Isn't that amazing? Yep. And it's true.
You see, China has a serious problem. And for whatever reason, people just aren't talking about it. Every year, over 600,000 Chinese citizens die prematurely from the same brutal thing. This silent killer in China is slowly wiping out a generation of the nation's most promising youth. It's not a disease, and it's not a cancer. It's far more sinister than that.
So imagine 600,000 a year. No one's taking this in consideration. You don't add this up, yeah? You've already locked out, children from being born, okay? And now you have what's left over, yeah? And you have, both male and female, but most of them are male. So most of the jobs are being taken are male jobs. And that means that there's no nothing going on, just work. Yeah. Now how much do they get paid? Yeah. 996. They take home $450 a month. 996. $450 a month. Yeah. These are all the people who work at Apple. Now think about this. Yeah, really. I mean, I really want you to think about this, because you're not going to really do anything to make a difference, but it's in your mind. What's important is that you get words that enter your mind that have the truth, and it reflects within you. And even though you don't say these words, they radiate out. And we're supporting change. Yeah? We're not saying what the change has to be or anything like that. Just reflecting on the truth. Yeah? And it will free us from incarnating into this reality. We all need to know we reincarnate. What's the chance of you reincarnating into the pit of hell? Really high. And there's not another place you're going to. If we wait after 2050, you could reincarnate in hell, on Mars, on a space station. If things go the way they're planning, the idiots, the industrialists, the richest people on the planet are thinking of colonizing you. Why? Because they can make the trillions of dollars needed to become trillionaires with the minerals and the resources from another planet. And we don't have those minerals and resources. Once we get them, we'll bring them over, We're talking, things that fly in anti-gravity, things, transferring and sending over diamonds in the rough, out of Mars, and we find, oh my God, this is more diamonds in one location on Earth. Whoa, I'm rich. Oh my God, copper. Minerals that we can't even find anywhere are really, really available there. And they're available on the moon and other places like meteors. We got idiots that are planning on locking in on meteors and flying out there and jumping on it and just digging the shit out of it. Break it up, chunk it up, stick it in a box, get it to Earth, make another $1 trillion. Yeah. Yeah. Why? What the hell do we need that for? Really, think about it, people. God dang, you really got to come on. We do not need our future that is coming our way. That future is hell. That future is the worst movie you will ever imagine. Yeah. And we don't have just one Elon Musk. What is an Elon Musk? Huh? What is an Elon Musk? Well, he went and bought Twitter. What happened when he bought Twitter? Well, you're going to work 996. That's what he said. You're going to work 996, just like the rest of us tell everybody. Everybody. Yeah. Whether you're an Apple or whether you're an Amazon, all of us on the top up here, we know the only way we're going to get our money and become that trillionaire is through your sweat and labor. Low economy and high numbers is what's going to increase our income. Yeah. Does Elon do that? Jesus, Elon's like a messiah. Can he really be doing things like that? Well, let's take a look at Tesla. Let's finish this guy here, just real quick.
You see, China has a serious problem. Brutal thing. This silent killer in China is slowly wiping out a generation of the nation's most promising youth. It's not a disease, and it's not a cancer. It's far more sinister than that. It's literal death by overwork. And it's a death sentence that all Chinese workers face every single day. It's a massive problem. By current estimates,
Yeah, I'm going to keep stopping this every once in a while because there's some really important things you need to kind of know. One is that in China, there are multiple things going on right now. Multiple things. Yeah. The same group of people who are being overworked and dying have chosen to stop working. Just lay down. Yeah. They just said, just let it decay. Let it decay. Yeah. Yeah. And they just lay down. They stay at home. Some of them put a funny hat on and just sit there. Some of them put really funny sunglasses on, just sit there. Let people see them, do nothing, because they're making a statement. There are millions, I mean millions and millions and millions and millions of people, their brothers and sisters, who are dropping like flies, not living, but suffering, really suffering. I'm going to go through this suffering thing. Because it's important. You need to know. You need to know. Yeah. What you don't know is really bad. And it's not, I'm not saying it's bad you don't know. I'm just saying because you don't know, it is really bad. Knowing creates knowing. Yeah. Understanding comes from a collective understanding where propaganda is no longer. Where a truth has been brought out and it starts being seen on mass levels. Yeah. And that's what's going to happen. Yeah. Because there's so much of this has got to go, but you got to know why. Yeah. This isn't something that's happening in Japan. Oh, those poor Japanese or those poor Chinese, or anybody else. Yeah. I mean, in America, it's the same. You can go to Amazon. You got 996. But the problem with Amazon is that you sign a contract of work hours being 0. That's your contract. Work hours are 0. And it's dependent upon your manager as to whether or not you work tomorrow. So you never know. Your work hours are 0. Yeah? What the shit? Okay, I accept it, I want a job, And same thing with Tesla. A guy goes into Tesla and he goes, oh, yeah, You know, they say, this is the best place to work, you know. Then he gets to the first day. You know, he's going to go paint. You know, he thinks he's going to go paint. But they give him a goddamn sander. It's bigger than his hand. You know? And he's got to sand for 10 hours. 10 hours. Try that. Try that. Try it. 1 hour. 30 minutes. 45 minutes. Try it. 10 hours. He couldn't move the next day. Pain was so great. Nervous disorders. All kinds of things was going on. It's one person. One person. Yeah? He gets to work, finds out he's got to go do this. He gets into the paint shop. Here's the sander. And he's thinking, where's the freaking robot? And come to find out, robots don't work. They're not good sanders. Nor can they paint very well. Nor they put a bolt in properly. You got to double check everything. That's what humans do while they're doing it. That's something that a computer doesn't do. Check and discern, discriminate and fix and, you know, all those things that a human would do. That makes us the ones that are supposed to be doing this shit, but not mass production. 10 hours. That's just one place. That's Elon Musk. Elon Musk. Every single worker that works under him works under a dictator who is as heartless as any evil being on earth. Heartless as you can ever imagine. Heartless. Yeah? He's got tens of thousands of people he's destroying just for money. And he knows it. He knows it. Are there problems? Yeah, there are problems. Yeah. Finish the rest of this.
1,000 Chinese citizens die every single year from being forced to work too hard. You see, China has a serious problem every single day. It's a massive problem. By current estimates, 600,000 Chinese citizens die every single year from being forced to work too hard. These aren't just people on the other side of the globe. They're people. Real people. Real deaths. The casualties of global competition. And the casualties of a world where the love of money has simply gone too far. Every single year in China, 600,000 souls leave their bodies and leave their families, all because their employers expect too much from them and feel entitled to the very force that brings them life. Death by overwork is a new, exhausting global phenomenon, and we still can't seem to control it.
It is not a new phenomenon. It is not. Have you ever heard child labor? Slave labor? Yeah. This is a really common thing. Very common. 1800, 1700, 1600, Caesar was this way. Yeah. Evil is this way. Evil takes advantage of other people and has what? No compassion, no empathy. What happens when you got no compassion, no empathy? What does it leave you? It leaves you with drive, ambition. Holy shit, what can that do? You know? What if there's a devil? And the devil is intellect. Yeah? What if really evil people think that they're superior because the devil tells them so? What if the devil gives them insight and makes them think they're really smart? Yeah? And it's not real at all. It's an advantage. Yeah. Every single thing. There isn't anything that we all do, you know, that if it's done right, with compassion, with understanding, and you're building something, you need someone's help. Come in and help you out, assist you. Yeah. That doesn't mean you should be building 6,000 cars a day and making quadrillions of dollars. Yeah. There's an enormous process within society that we're not aware of. Yeah. Here's Tesla. His little
ran over on the line. People got sent out for exhaustion, people throwing up at random because of not drinking enough water. Management never really cared. All they care about is hitting numbers, doing whatever they can to please Elon.
Do you think that this is sustainable? This pace is sustainable?
Yeah, so we'll probably have, I don't know, a 3 or 4-fold increase in Model 3 output in the second quarter. I got hurt.
Can you hear that, man? Yeah? I'm telling you, a heart is a heart. A heart is real. Compassion, empathy, caring, sharing, stopping suffering, stopping death, stopping injury, stopping. That's what we do. That's what we do. Every invention, every idea, everything is built on compassion, not passion. This man's built on passion. He is a sex magician and a money magician.
Seat manufacturing.
Pure agonizing pain. I jumped up and my arm was just hanging.
In orientation, they were like, oh, you're gonna really love it here. This is a good place to work. I had no clue what I was getting myself into.
Dennis Duran worked in the paint department at Tesla's Fremont, California factory for 5 years.
The paint shop's really operating at full tilt, so adding any complexity to the paint shop would not be wise right now. But
once I got there, they were like, okay, so Dennis, you know we were gonna work a lot of hours, so we just wanted to let you know we don't really know when we're gonna have our next days off, so we might just work maybe 8-10 days straight, and then maybe get 2 days off. I was like, oh, this is new. I started first in wet sand. Basically, you had to...
Now you see how he's handling that? That's because he had no idea. He's in a delusion. He's looking at Elon Musk as a savior, as a nice guy. Somebody with a heart, a human being. Yeah, he's not. He's really evil, really mean, disgustingly. Even though he comes up with all this good shit. Yeah, science is what it is. That's the part of the devil that comes into this thing. The devil messes with intellect, intellectual property, all kinds of things that gives us a cutting edge. But that doesn't mean that that's what we should be doing and how we should be doing it. So Elon Musk is he's really doing it.
For 12 hours with a sander
12 hours.
bigger than my hand. So after just 4 days of 12 hours, my fourth day, it was really bad. I woke up with like a cramp all in my arm, and oh, it hurt so badly. I guess that's why, like the wet sand sander would say 8 hours is the max total.
In 2015 alone, the rate of serious injury at Tesla's Fremont factory was 102% above the industry average. And in 2016, it was above the average.
But what we found out is that he doesn't have honest reporting. So what we see as 102 was 350 times the average. That's real. That's the truth. So what you just listened to goes in your head, bounces around, you go, well, is that bad? That's about 100 and some odd. 350 times is enough to shock you so bad. Yeah? It should affect. We need unions, people. We need everything taken out of the hands of individuals who run corporations and have it put in the hands of the people who run the corporations, who are the workers. They know their hours. They know how long they can work. And they will not kill themselves for it. They won't. It just won't happen. We got to get it out of the hands of these people. Because people, as individuals, it's really hard to have a heart and not fall toward the money. Lose your heart by simply getting angry at the person not making you more money. That's your only conversation you're having with anybody. Is that, how much money are you making me today?
By 82.5%. Tesla claims its 2019 injury rate dropped below the industry average, but the Center for Investigative Reporting found that Tesla underreported its injuries that year. On top of that, California's inspection agency said it couldn't verify Tesla's claims about safety improvements.
Basically, everybody would cut their arms and hands. Sometimes people would bleed off the line and have to run to the bathroom, so it would be a man down, a second person. I would have to stop the line, and once you stop the line there, management come over, would start yelling at you, and they'd be like, why did he cut his hand? What is he doing? Oh, change him out with someone better. Almost like a modern-day industrial sweatshop.
Dennis tried to help organize a union to gain more of a voice, but Musk and Tesla stopped it by illegally threatening, harassing, and firing workers, according to the NLRB.
Management makes you want to feel like they're the superior, you should be afraid, you should appease me. That's basically, the culture was always there, basically an extreme hierarchy.
The amount of time that workers took off for injuries tripled in 2018 as Tesla launched the Model 3.
A mass market, affordable car. We need to achieve high volume production. Our Fremont factory in the past has actually made almost 500,000 cars a year. So we're confident that Tesla can achieve that number in the future in terms of vehicle production.
Musk had planned for the Model 3 to be produced almost entirely by robots, until Tesla didn't hit its numbers.
Elon, part of the thing I heard about the Model 3 is that there's too many robots, that maybe...
Yeah, I agree.
You think so too? That maybe you need more people in here working?
We do.
Elon Musk abandoned the idea and admitted on Twitter, yes, excessive automation at Tesla was a mistake. To be precise, my mistake. Humans are underrated.
The turnover there is extremely bad because after a while, sometimes after even a few months, workers always already see how bad it is over there. Management didn't care about safety. It's just extremely exhausting, and they just realize that the pay is not worth it.
After 5 years of grueling hours and injuries, Dennis left for another job. He says his coworkers are still facing the same problems. Meanwhile, Elon Musk has become one of the world's richest men, worth
$156 billion with all these people's injuries. That's how he makes his money. It just so sucks. And then there's this. This is Amazon.
And he was struggling to get the harness on. On break, he was sitting down, and I went over and I said, "Hi, how are you feeling today?" And he said, "I'm okay." And he had a little.
She saw a person who was struggling to get his safety harness on, and he was stuttering and kind of falling over. And she went over to him and asked him, "How are you doing today? Are you all right?" And he goes, "No, yeah, I guess, yeah." And they're talking a little more, and he says, "Well, on Thanksgiving, I had a stroke in the work area while I was working. And I took a little break, and I feel better, and I went back to work. And I haven't seen a doctor or anything like that. Because they can't afford it, and they can't take time off."
Bit of a slurred speech. So he started to tell me how he suffered a stroke in the warehouse on Thanksgiving. I couldn't believe that there was no support for him. Nobody seemed to care. And he came right back to operate that piece of machinery that he suffered a stroke on. So at that moment, everything changed for me. The injuries are on a daily basis.
Injuries are so common. I don't know how many people have left in ambulances.
I am what they call a picker. I drive a pit machine, which is an 8,000-pound piece of equipment that we take into the aisles and we retrieve items.
I am a packer. I make sure that the packages get sent out to dock in time.
I am a packer and a slammer. It's at the slam station where it gets the shipping label, and then the slammer weighs the package, puts it on another conveyor where it goes up and around the facility and eventually ends up at the docks.
As a picker, I have to retrieve 45 items an hour. And that includes all of those heavy pieces of equipment, auto equipment, dressers, fireplaces, vacuums, air conditioners, you name it.
Quota, make sure we get the priorities out.
The injuries are definitely affected by these quotas and by the stress.
We're moving boxes that are, teeny tiny little things up to supposedly 50 pounds, but I can't tell you how many countless times I've had to lift boxes 60, 70, 80 pounds.
As I was driving this 8,000-pound piece of equipment to retrieve items, I noticed that there was wires, metal wires sticking out in what we call the very narrow aisles. So I may lean to the side to see if I can get a better visual. However, that better visual could result in this wire taking my eye out.
Look at the boxes protruding out of the aisles and the condition of the boxes, because the aisles are so narrow. The shelves are overstuffed to the point where there are shelves that are collapsing, items that are falling off the shelves onto employees at, I believe it's up to 28 feet.
I started September 13th. By the end of October, I was in the emergency room. I literally fell on the floor one day. I could not stand up. I could not stand up straight. I just was laying there in severe pain. Somebody said, go get AmCare. AmCare walks down about 10 minutes later without a wheelchair. I drove myself to the ER and did find out that I did have a hernia and had to have surgery.
One of the women in the facility had a severe head injury that she had to be carried out in an ambulance.
I would drive home from work and I would have to sit in my car for a minute and sometimes literally lift my legs up and lift my legs out of the car because I just couldn't move them. They just wouldn't work. And just walking up the stairs, it was constant pain, absolutely constant pain.
I use my legs all the time to lift. I go home with bruises on my thighs. It looks like I've been beaten.
We've had over 100 EMS responses to the building, and a majority is dehydration or employees passing out because they're afraid if you drink more water, then you go to the bathroom. If you go to the bathroom, then you're going to be written up for time off task.
You can get.
Yeah. Welcome to Earth. Yeah. Yeah, this is where we incarnate. We do not have another place, and it's only going to get worse when they shoot it off to Mars and on a space shuttle and get born there. I'll tell you that bad ideas all around, bad ideas. And right now we are in a really bad situation, really bad, because you honestly believe you're part of a workforce of some kind. So that's what people are supposed to do, And there are many things to do in this world, creative things to do, caring things to do, service toward another person says thank you, gives you, something for it, you pay your rent, service and caring and sharing and all those things really is a way to make an income. It's normal. You develop these qualities, these characteristics. You get out there, you help. By the time I was 4 or 5 years old, I had already 2 or 3 jobs. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. I was big, I ran a lawnmower service at only 5 years old. My dad thought I was nutty and a fruitcake. Luckily, he was a truck driver. He was never home. So I just was out there doing it. And I was big, 5 years old, but I was at least, a good 4.5 feet tall, so and strong enough to push a lawnmower and do all the hoeing and raking and pulling of weeds. I was taught all those things by my family. Mow the lawn, kid, get out there. If I could do it in my house, why can't I do it in another house? Is the way I thought. And those are skills that I was developing. And every skill that I developed, I made it into a service. I can help you with that. I could do that. I know how to do that. And a person would go, wow, thank you very much. Can you come over and da-da-da-da? Shit, by the time I was, 10 years old, I had so many diverse avenues for making an income. And I was a crafts person. I was a carpenter. I did leather work. Just spontaneously every year, some new ideas would come up in service and helping and doing things. And it always led to a service that would provide me an income. And I had no desire to be making money like that, but it just was a way of making money. And I see my experience, my life experience is same for everyone. It is what you have as an option. But you have to have the Holy Spirit in you to get what I had. That's what got me everything. My soul, the Holy Spirit, my chakras, my compassion, my empathy, my ability to communicate with absolutely anybody. If you were in a wheelchair and unable to talk, I was attracted to you. I would just walk. For strange reasons, I just walk right over there and hang out and say something and see if they'd say something back and see if I could figure it out. And I did. Guys in wheelchairs that be, but they were geniuses, but no one ever took the time to figure it out. And because I happened to be in a school that happened to have people like that, that put me in that situation. And all of a sudden, I was the guy who took care of all these people. Everybody has this as an option in life. We all have these things. But Elon Musk and other people who think that they're so smart will design an idea and capitalize on that idea rather than making it possible for masses. Like if he would say, okay, I got opportunities for 10,000 people who are skilled. Let's do this. Everybody gets into it, and we're not putting more than 40 hours a week in. What you get done in that day is what you get done. That's where I come from. It's not what you're supposed to get done, it's what you get done. You did your best. That's the best you can do. That's it. But that's not how it is out there. All your friends have to be empathetic. All your friends have to be compassionate. Every person you meet in the world, you must meet compassionate, empathetic, caring, sharing, loving people. You must. That's God's plan. But if you're taking in this shit and deluded and not able to see the truth of Elon Musk, that doesn't mean, oh, his car's terrible, don't buy the car, you would hurt Elon Musk, I want to hurt Elon Musk. It's not what it is. He is an individual. We need to watch out. We need to know that Bezos is heartless. He's got people peeing in jars. But there's something happening in Bezos that's changing. He bought 100,000 electric vans that are so cool. He eliminated the suffering of his business on that level. But not in the warehouse. The warehouse is hell on wheels. Everybody's in hell. Every single person. And they're all suffering just like the person who used to be in the vans. They would all be suffering too. So keep it in your mind, It's not about Bezos. Bezos is an asshole. Money-making, greedy piece of shit. Just the way it is. But the world is going to change. We need to make it change. We need to make it move forward. And it's going to happen. We need to see what's going on. You know, we're dealing with Apple. We all got Apple phones. We either got that or we got a different kind of phone. But boy, is Apple rich. Yeah, Apple's got it going. You know, they've got the monopoly. Yeah, I mean that's the thing about capitalism. It's monopoly. You know, so Tesla monopoly, Amazon monopoly, Apple monopoly. Yeah, it's all about that because individuals are assholes. You know, the chance of you finding a compassionate, loving, highly evolved being running a big business, not really very high. Not very high. But it will evolve into this. It will evolve into this because I go way up above that intellectual area that these people are trying to manipulate and give people the delusion that they're in with Tesla. And they're not. The engineers aren't engineers designing the Tesla car, and they're not going to get credit for it. But they should. Elon Musk didn't design any part. Any part. And that's got to stop. I mean, we need to know. We need to know. We need to know the truth. So we can give credit. And we can give bonuses. Yeah? And we can help people not work so freaking hard. Just so that one person could be the richest person in the world out of one company. And another company over here, Amazon, Bezos, is, I'm shooting for 172 billion, trillion, real soon. Yeah. And that's what's going on in their heads. That's their intellect. That is Satan. They're being used. They're not a person. Yeah. They're a tool. Yeah, for an outcome, to fulfill a plan. And it's happening worldwide. Worldwide. Yeah? Look at Apple. I mean, we got Apple watches, and we look out at Silicon, and we see this circular, beautiful building. And we go, whoa, that's high tech. Whoa, those people got to be living well. They got to be making some major money in there. And they probably are. But not the people who make the phones. Not the people who make the iPods. Not the people who are Apple. Yeah? Just the administration, the hierarchy is sitting in Silicon Valley. Yeah? They get the bonuses, they get the benefits, they get the ego. Yeah, good job, you know. And then it goes on to Taiwan, then it goes on to China, then it goes on to Japan, wherever it's being manufactured. The real thing. The real thing. Yeah? And those people are being paid $450 a month for putting one screw in a phone. That'll drive you nuts. And you're only getting paid $450 a month. Yeah? And you don't have many options, and they only give you one set of clothes. You know, so it's not for the clothes, and it's not for the money, and it's not for the prestige. Yeah? Because we're in a crazy world where we think we're lawyers. We think we're doctors. As though we're, you know, and we're not. We're never a lawyer. We're never a doctor. We're human beings that need to be compassionate and empathetic at all times. At all times. You must be friends with everybody. Unless the demon right next door keeps throwing shit at you and treats you like hell, you know, leave that person alone. Yeah, call the cops on them. You know, don't take it. Yeah. Because we need kindness. We have a lot of kindness in this world. Yeah. Part of kindness is a union. Yeah. The ability for people to unionize. Yeah. We've been through the mafia union. Yeah. The Teamsters union. And we find out, oh my God, you know, all our money went to the head guy. And he took it all. Now we have no money. You know, our union dues and all that we were going to get from our union, gone now. You know, what happened? corruption. Yeah, it's still the same thing. A CEO, it's still the same thing. A big rich person in charge of the union. It's still the same thing. You have to do it all right. Everything has to be done correctly. You can't let the evil seep in. Even though they come in and say, I'll give you $1 billion and back your ass, but I need to be CEO, like Elon Musk. And you sell your fucking soul to the devil. And he goes around claiming he did it. This is my car, Tesla. I'm Tesla. He's not Tesla. He has no idea about Tesla. He does now. He's owned it for so long and he's done so much in the work of it, but he just takes advantage of it. It's the same with rocketeering. Rocketeering is a science. It's a science. Everybody will come up with the same formula. It's a science. You can't monopolize. If he comes up with a rocket ship that lands, the guy right next to him comes up with the same thing. And they don't have to steal from each other. It's science. It's science. Yeah. So what's the big deal? Why does Elon Musk get any credit at all? It took a lot of engineers to fulfill that science. Yeah. And we don't give credit to all that went on. And we need to. We need to, or these people will just be shed under this whole thing, and no one will get any bonus, no one will get any credibility, no one will be able to. They'll sign contracts stating, I will not take credit for anything here. And every invention that I make while being under Tesla is Elon Musk. Look it up. You'll find it's true. If you work in Tesla and you invent something, it better be signed and sealed by Elon Musk. Or it's not part of it. It's got to go through the whole system. And then it's, all of a sudden, it's Tesla. Yeah. It's the same with Amazon. It's the same with Apple. How many people got credit for an iPad? Steve Jobs, that's it. Why do you think, the other guy quit? He's the engineer. He was the designer. He was the guy. But yet he got no credit. Yeah. It is a dictator scenario of intellect. Intellectual pride. It makes people think, oh, Steve Jobs, he's a genius. He's Apple. He isn't. He didn't invent Apple. He didn't invent the iPad. He didn't invent the watch. He didn't invent any of it. He's a scientist with a group of scientists that invented these things. Yeah? Because they're all necessities. Oh, we wear a watch. Have you seen Dick Tracy? He has a watch that talks. Kind of comes up like that. The other engineers are going, oh, have you seen Star Trek? Why, they have an iPad, and they have this, and they have that. Yeah? Maybe we could do something like that. Yeah? Engineers are always into this sort of thing. Constantly. They're sci-fi buffs. And anything on a sci-fi movie is real. Possible. Yeah? It just hasn't been invented yet. It's the future. Yeah? But they're not getting any credit. This is terrible. Creative qualities is the soulful attribute of humanity. And yet, they're all being stolen. They're being stolen. Every bit of creative quality in every one of these businesses, there's nobody. There's nobody. It's all the CEO. Who's ever sitting at that edge. They're calling it. Look at this for Apple. This poor guy works at Apple.
So So what I do is just put one screw
One
that
screw.
fasten the speaker to the back case of the iPhone.
Yeah.
We will start in the factories at 7:30, and then we will spend 12 hours inside of the factories. But actually, we only do 10 and a half hours work because the break time is deducted. You get bored because like you're just repeatedly doing the same thing. The amounts that I get is 3,100 yen. I think that's around $450. It's per
A month.
But it's included the base salary plus the overtime wages. We only take a break once a week on Sunday. During my time there, I think that
It includes base salary and extra time. Period. $450. That's it. Just because you have a dorm, yeah, and you have 4 different places to buy food, yeah. None of it has meat in it, yeah. All is noodles with a tiny bit of vegetables, yeah. And us, in our ignorance, because this is all about intelligence, all about intelligence. These wacky leaders are super intelligent, so they make these decisions as though they make sense. You're going to screw this screw into one little hole for 10 hours a day for 5 years. Thank you very much. That's $450 a month. Now, imagine you're selling that phone for nearly $1,000. $1,000. And its value is probably worth about $45. $45. Yeah? Because they're mass produced. Each and every one of those things are costing pennies. Most expensive thing is inside the software, inside the computer, things like that. So they're like $2. $2.50. You know, I mean, we're really racking up bucks here, making an iPhone. Yeah, you got to think about this stuff. Their delusionary intellect is pride, as though they know something, and that overshadows your ability to think at all. They're thinking for you, and it's automatic. We don't ask questions. We don't go into it. Like this guy. When he first walked in, you think he was surprised when he found out that he's going to work 10 hours and only screw one screw? That's it? Just like the other guy who worked at Tesla? Surprised that he's going to be doing sanding for 10 hours? And that's it? For 10 hours? Yeah? It doesn't matter who you are. Whether you're working at Tesla, Apple, one of the best places in the world, you'd think. Tesla, the other really best place in the world. But they treat people like shit. Like shit. Apple pays $450 a month to one person who's building a phone. And there's probably 25 people who build the phone. That person's just doing one screw. But another person's putting in an entire board. And another person's doing this and doing that. And it's out the door at about 25 people. 25 people putting a phone out per day, every day. At least 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 phones. Making $1,000 per phone. Probably only paying $25 plus the wages, which is coming to maybe another $30 in a day. That's it. And who's getting the money? The CEO and the stockholders. People who are looking at the CEO and its stockholder regime relationship. It's all in an intellectual, delusionary bullshit.
There are about 70,000 workers inside of the factories. The
17,000 workers.
The whole factories have 7 sub-factories, but they are all in one main campus. They are required uniform. We have a blue hat, and then we have the pink shirt.
Now these are these poor little kids in China whose parents could only have one child. They do not have brothers and sisters. None of them have brothers and sisters. Yeah? None of them have actual friends. And nor are they going to ever get married. You got an 80% chance you'll never get married. Ever date. But you will see a prostitute, and you'll spend a long hours online with somebody who says that they're a girl. And you got an 80% chance it's not. And that affects you too. All of us. We're all affected by this shit.
And the blue pants, but we only get one set of it. And workers also wear sleepers. We have a locker room. That's where workers change their clothes, put their phones, their keys, all the medals. Some workers, very rarely, they do have iPhones, but most of the workers, they use some kind of like China-produced phone, which are...
Yeah. This is about the massive number of deaths in youths that are happening around the world in industry, and that they're just falling off. They're they're just dying in the train. They're working 996, and they're working in polluted conditions, hard working conditions. They can't drink water because they haven't got time to go pee. So then they get dehydrated. Yeah. And what goes on here, all this that goes on here, if it doesn't kill them while they're young, it takes them early. By the time they're 40 or 50, they start getting diseases because their system's been broke down that bad. And then we got situations with drug companies.
You blame the victims. How can you possibly blame the victims for something you created, manifested?
Opioids given to people in large doses for years at a time. Yeah? Because the doctors made a deal with the devil. Yeah. And they had an advertisement guy come to their office and say, hey, we over here, we made ourselves a new drug. Yeah. And this is going to go over real well, and we can get it to you, and you could start giving it to people and they'll get addicted. And you will be in a consistent income from here on out. Don't you worry about a thing.
That's Tiffany Scott, a mother who lost her daughter to opioid addiction. Tiffany was reenacting her testimony from the bankruptcy trial of Purdue Pharma. Purdue's marketing of their opiate painkiller OxyContin, which represented 80% of their business, is nearly entirely responsible for the opioid addiction epidemic crushing America today. The company pleaded guilty to related charges in federal court twice.
Now, this company, it's based on individual family practice. Individuals, people, individuals like Walmart, the people who own Walmart, individuals who own Walmart, yeah, individuals who own Eli Lilly, individuals who own Purdue, individuals, families of maybe 6 to 8 people, yeah, and they're the richest people on the planet, yeah, because they're drug dealers. They own drug companies, but they're not, helping people with doctors and their pharmaceutical situation. They are drug dealers, and they sell drugs and make people addicted to drugs. And their number one income is through opioids. Yeah.
And Purdue is, or was, we'll get to that, owned almost entirely by one family, the Sacklers. They are among the richest families on Earth, who at one point were worth at least $13 billion. And you probably already know how corrupt the Sacklers are. Books, documentaries, congressional hearings, an entire acted-out Hulu miniseries.
If OxyContin does what I think it can, We could soon become Purdue's first billion-dollar drug.
They've been sued by 48 out of 50 states. Their names have been removed from buildings. Everyone on Earth seems to get it. The Sacklers are largely to blame for a drug crisis that's killed 500,000 people. And yet the Sacklers still have a ridiculous amount of money and will likely never face any change in the extreme comfort of their lives. They pursued endless capital accumulation over public health, and they got away with it by exploiting Byzantine corporate and financial law to hide their wealth, and by allying with the very people who were supposed to be regulating them.
That's a fact. Now, what about millennials? You know, we got two sides to it. One, we don't know. They like to not do too much, and they support a lot of LGBT and all kinds of things. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but they are the largest group of people we've got in America. Yeah, they're a whole large group of people. And in their process, they have been taken in by Silicon Valley and by others who have turned them on to a new way of working. So this whole group is now going this direction.
That the scene feels like science fiction from a distant realm. In her piece for the New York Times, Why Are Young People Pretending to Love Work?, Erin Griffith writes about how the current generation has let their lifestyle be defined by what she calls performative workaholism.
Now, the reason why that is because these people want to be Elon Musk. Yeah? They want to start up their billion-dollar business, a startup. So these millennials are startups. Go back in 1990, year 2000, all the way when internet began. These are the people that really pushed it through. Yeah? And they started with startups, Google and everything. Yeah? So what was their interest? To become billionaires. Yeah? Yeah? To become billionaires. Yeah? And the moment they become a billionaire, they get into a league of a group of startups. Yeah? That are unicorns, called unicorns. Anything over $1 billion in a startup is called a unicorn. And this is their achievement goal, is to be a unicorn. Not to do service, not to do a job, but to create Twitter or Facebook or, shit that doesn't matter. Yeah? And you can make money on. How can you make more money? More shit that doesn't matter. Yeah? Advertisement and many other ways. Yeah? And all of a sudden you find yourself richest people on the planet. So this is where the millennials are going.
So Erin joins me now from San Francisco. Erin, great piece.
Thank you.
And as I read it, I thought to myself, this sort of thing has come up before. There's been pushback. I remember maybe a year ago or maybe a few years ago.
So just imagine, not only here, but in all places. You can go to Japan, China, same group of people, even though they're making $450 or whatever, they're not making much money, they're working for Apple or they're working for Tesla, in their mind, they have set as an illusion and a delusion, as a possibility, they could become a startup. They can start their own computer digital idea, and become the billionaire that they think they should be. That's their goal. And there's nothing pulling these people back. Nothing. They're willing, they're driven in their own psychology. They're driven to think that hard work, long hours is really fun. This is the greatest thing we could ever do. Yeah. So, and that's what is said by Elon Musk. It's by the people who are doing it on top. So all these millennials are like 1 million of these little demons on top. Does that make sense? It's important to understand that we are in a bad situation, surrounded by a very bad group of people who all want to be Facebook, Twitter, Elon Musk, billionaires. And where does billions of dollars come from when it comes from thin air? People's sweat. Money comes from people's sweat. It doesn't come from thin air. It comes from people's sweat. It comes only from labor. And no millionaire is ever going to do any labor. Yeah. Their money comes from somebody else, not themselves. And yet, they stand there saying, I am the richest person in the world. Excuse me? How is that possible?
There was this idea that being busy was the new humble brag, that you would ask people how they are, and they go, oh, I'm so busy, and that was supposed to be a good thing, right? So, like, walk us through your article. What is performative workaholism?
Well, I mean, workaholism is not new, but I think what I've realized, especially among my generation and especially here in San Francisco where the tech industry is dominant, it's not just a lot to work long hours. You also have to love it. You have to brag about it, and you have to make your job like part of your identity, basically. And I've realized that that's kind of grim. And as startup culture expands into the broader business culture, which it has been for the last few years, that becomes a little problematic. And so
You getting what I'm saying?
He joined a prestigious manufacturer, but within a year he was dead. Investigators said the stress of working extreme hours drove him to take his own life. The young engineer fell victim to the Japanese phenomenon of karoshi, or death from overwork. An early day for him was going home at 9 p.m., his father says. If work wasn't finished, he'd stay until midnight. Young women are just as vulnerable. This month, state broadcaster NHK revealed one of its reporters, 31-year-old Miwa Sato, had died from heart failure after working near 14-hour days. It took 4 years for NHK to announce Sato's death. Parents accused the network of a cover-up.
The reality is that in Japan, workers are working ridiculous hours. I think that's hard to deny.
American labor activist Louis Carlett says such sacrifice is seen as a virtue here.
There's a strong cultural norm that you have to devote everything to the company, and you're a corporate warrior, and I think that's what really pushes people over the edge.
Yep. So, the process is that in truth, we reincarnate. Where do you want to reincarnate? Yep. This is all about us. This is us, because we're going to come back. And the shit that we're going to get, if we don't take responsibility for knowing that, are we really supposed to work in the form of work? Are we supposed to actually work in the form of service? Yeah? And being appreciated for the service that we're doing. Yeah? And it could be that 30% of the people who are not of the workforce, they're just creative people. Yeah? They do other things that doesn't seem to be it's not a carpenter, it's not a plumber, it's not a person who builds a house, not a person who's super engineer, not an electrician or something, what the heck do you do? There's all kinds of things for people to do. And there's different kinds of people. But we're never going to find this out if we think we're God in the machine and we're part of that machine. And there's nothing more to us. Nothing more. Nothing more. Nothing. You got to realize there's everything. Yeah? And if we don't take this fully, we have to wear our solar forms. We have to have our etheric weaver. Yeah, we have to. We have to listen to my pujas, so that it comes into you, you think of it, it changes your attitude, it allows you to meditate, it gives you a good space to be in. Your environment is a temple. Yeah? You are a temple. Yeah? Maintain it. Yeah? And everything else has to just come together. Yeah? So you need to eat. So I tell you, shit, don't be crazy. Eat meat. Just eat meat. Just meat. I don't care what kind of meat. Just eat meat. Yeah. And don't worry about the other stuff, because I can show you over and over scientifically that meat is the best thing for you. So that's how easy it is. I'll be darned. Yeah. So if you want to be a hunter, you got it made. You've already got your sustainability for your meat. You get deer, you catch fish. Yeah. It's how more normal could that be? Yeah. Sure, it's tough. Yeah, you got to learn to throw something. And you got to hit something. You got to be not a bad thrower. And you got to be strong. You can't get too tired. Yeah? Or you won't be able to track it. What if you do get it and it runs away? And now you got to carry it all the way back. You better have your wits with you, and you better be strong. But hunting makes you strong. Yeah? It does. You climb the hill. You have no idea where you're going. That stupid bear, that stupid deer. Good Lord. I didn't know I'd had to go this far. It's nearly dark. And then I get one. Oh boy. How lucky am I? Now I got to cut it in half, dress it out, carry it in. There's so many things about hunting that you need to do and understand. And if you follow through with what is normal, these are creative things. These are part of your creative thing that you're born with. Yeah? But that's not what we have in our system. Yeah? We don't do this. It's recreational. Yeah, completely. Yeah, but you could, just head out, go fishing, get a bunch of salmon, freeze them. You got salmon for a whole freaking year. Yeah, could go out, get 3 wild boar, dress them out, bring them back, freeze them. You got bacon and all kinds of ribs. And you got food. Really tasty stuff. Yeah? Yeah, it doesn't take much. Doesn't take much. That's just one thing that you need. You need to eat. Yeah? So, there you go. That's all you got to do is hunt. All right? So the hunting is your payment. Rather than going out making money in order to go to the store to buy your food. Yeah. So it's the same thing with shelter. Good Lord, you can make a shelter. You can make a log cabin. An idiot can make a log cabin. If you get it in your mind that you're going to make a log cabin, that you can't afford a $150,000 house. You don't want to work for some asshole for 15 years while you're renting a piece of shit, and you need a house. So, head for the forest. Find a place. That's where the animals are at. Yeah, that's where you'll find your lumber. Yeah, and under circumstances, you might be able to get land. You might be able to, you move yourself in the right direction. And these fulfill the things you need. You need a place to live. You need food to eat. Those are 2 things you could take care of. You could do this. You incarnate. You live your whole life. You have within you the ability to maintain the 2 things that will keep you alive and healthy and happy. Yeah? I mean, it's very happy just being. Just being. Not being a lawyer. Not being a doctor. Not being something, not being all these things, but just being you and enjoying your life and watching the sunset. Yeah? Learning about the flowers and learning about the different things and studying and, getting wiser and wiser and enjoying yourself and trek around and share. Yeah? That's very easy. That part right there is a very easy thing for us to do. Yeah? And whether you're Native American, whether you're Aboriginal, this is where we come from. Yeah? If you're European and we're American and we have this several generations of never been a hunter, never had any relationship to something like that, never thought about building a house, always was in a situation to where I'm under somebody. Yeah, I'm under the company. Yeah, I owe the company everything. Yeah, and the school is owned by the company, the store is owned by the company, my house is owned by the company. We could go that direction. Yeah, or not. I think we should not. Yeah. I think we should take each one of these things and move them as we can. And take our responsibilities 100%. Because we're not God in a machine. Yeah. We need to be sustained. Yeah. And if we just step through one loop, get that one done, come out and go, wow. How about that? We've got electric, solar, we have wind generators, we build our own place, we never pay rent, we never pay mortgage, we don't pay for electricity, and we catch our own food. Or we trade what we make for food for people who do catch food. So you can make solar farms, you can make etheric weavers, you can do all kinds of things, and then provide that in trade. Yeah? So it's all very creative. Everything is a creative scenario. It's not about having your person go through labor and then get paid for that and not do what you want to do in life. Your work that you're doing shouldn't be work. It should be service. Yeah? And if it's understood as service, then you change your attitude toward it. Like, I got to work so hard, and I got to work so many hours, and I gotta get perfect, But in reality, you got to just get through the day. And if you're hunting and you don't get your deer that day, you're hungry. That's all there is to it, and tired. And you're going to go back out tomorrow until you get a deer. That's just the way it is. That's how the cycle keeps going. Yeah, but we're not in that. Yeah, and people will go, "Wow, if we were all hunters, we'd be stepping over everybody and fighting for the deer that's over there. We'd be shooting each other and stuff. It's a lot of negative ways to think. Yeah, a lot of negative ways to think. But I'm not thinking that way. I think we're all creative and we're not going to shoot each other. Yeah, and if we live like this, if we do these things, we will never harm another person. We will gain compassion. When you take the life of an animal, it opens your heart so much. It is an amazing experience. It's not killing. Not killing. There's a wheel of life that comes around. And in that process, that's where God comes in. It's not luck, it's a blessing. And the animal actually offers itself. And you got to get that in your head when you're doing this hunting stuff. Yeah, you're hunting, but it's symbiotic. We are doing this together, the hunter and the hunted. Yeah, it just does. Yeah, and in the final process, that opens the heart in the hunter and brings strength, courage, and abilities, both in higher mind, technique, skills, ways of dealing with other people, compassion and empathy. Yeah, without that in the process. But if we add war, anger, hostility, take hunting into hostility, then we lose all our empathy and all our compassion. Yeah, so we got to know that we have a baseline of who we are. Yeah, we're not warriors. Yeah, we're not militants. Yeah, we can't use the same tools that we use for hunting to kill. Even though we do kill an animal with it, we're not. That's not what's going on. Yeah, we're inside the circle of life. Yeah, and we're bringing life to that animal because we're thinning them out. That's the nature of it. In hunting, we thin, and we have no idea why there was so much bison, and no matter how many Indians went out there to do it, there'd be millions of bison running around. That's the way it was because God provides people. We have more food on the land waiting for us. Yeah? But we killed all the bison and stacked it up a quarter-mile high in a mountain. All the bones. Millions and millions and millions and millions of bison were all slaughtered for no reason. Not meat, not hide, just to get rid of the bison. Yeah? So the Indians wouldn't have their food. Yeah? That's anger, that's hostility, that's war. That's war. Yeah? And we need to bring all this back, and we're going to. My vision, what I see in the world, is that we're not going to Mars. We might, but we're not. Yeah? And we're not going to seduce little children. And we're not going to seduce 20-year-olds just because they don't have money and they don't have a house and they don't have food. We can seduce them and use them. And we're doing that. And that's what you have to stop. You have compassion, you have empathy, but you must have understanding. With the information that I'm giving, we can raise all of us up into a better world just simply by knowing that this horrible shit is really going on. And it's not was the past or boy, if we had a terrible future, this is the way it would be. This is the way it is right now. And it's going to get a whole lot worse unless we choose compassion and sustainability and learning to eat. Very specifically, we only eat meat. Why? Because as the next life comes, we will be hunters. Yeah? Maybe not this life because we're too ordained in the process of stores. Yeah, butchers and all the things. For thousands and thousands of years it's been like this. Yeah? But we need to evolve and jump into a whole other world that allows us compassion and long life, animals with equal rights. Can you imagine that? Yeah? Yeah? Even though we're hunters, yeah, we love all the animals. We don't have them as pets. Yeah? We don't do animal husbandry in order to have 1 million chickens. Yeah? We need 10 eggs, we got just so many chickens. Yeah? Those are all things that we do. If we do these things, we understand these things, we wake up to these things, we will reincarnate into those things. But we have to have this as our understanding. Yeah? Because it's not going to be handed to us. You know? There's part of us that want to be born in a rich family, yeah, and get away from all of this shit, and that can happen. Pray to God that never happens. Yeah, get it out of your head. Get it out of your head. Yeah, you do not need fame. You do not need a fortune. You do not need any of that. Yeah, all you need you need all your nature that is there for you to bring forth and to be of service to this planet. And love your brothers and sisters, every single one of them, yeah? And treat them with enormous amount of compassion and consideration. And never, never fall into sex magic and money magic, which is where we're at right now. Yeah? So let's pray. Okay, let's wish the best for everybody, eh? Huh? Okay, just repeat this. Okay, repeat after me. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad. To guide me into the right activity in the plan. To clarify and stimulate my mind. To transform and transmute my feelings and emotions. To energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body. So there is a normal flow of energy in my physical and etheric body. Through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the One. All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. All right.
I am a messenger of light. I am a pilgrim on the way of love. I do not walk alone, but I know myself as one with all great souls, and one with them in service. Their strength is mine. This strength I claim. My strength is theirs, and this I freely give. A soul, I walk on earth. I represent the One.
Take a deep breath.
that past. It makes me what I am. The future comes. I also am the coming destiny, and therefore I am that. The present flows from out the past. The future colors that which is. I make the future also by my present knowledge of the past and the beauty of the present, and therefore I am that I within the circle of the will of God I stand. Without the radius of the world of glamour I take my place, and there I stand. Before the open door that just reveals a different lighted way, I take my stand. Before the presence, I will take my place, and there will firmly stand. And stand I see. Is the incentive of our aspiration on the path. Love is the substance of our living in the world. Love is the light and the light of freedom from all creatures. Love pulses through the universe in a divine rhythm. Love is the consciousness of God. May the holy ones whose disciple I am show me the light I seek. May all mankind, may all humanity of all knowledge, may all light on earth make manifest the soul in all things, all life. I invoke the radiant golden sun to manifest the thread of the soul into the kingdoms of the elementals, into the kingdoms of the vegetables, the animals, into the astral plane. I stand before the judgment seat of my soul. I am that soul. All love and light am I. I serve the world and lose myself in service. This is my life, and this is the way that I will tread until the day be with us all. I invoke the awakening in the consciousness of humanity, the family of humanity, to bring forth points of energy within themselves, inaugurating certain new techniques in work and in modes of communication. I invoke the group of telepathic communicators. I invoke the group of trained observers. I invoke the group of magnetic healers. I invoke the group of the educators of this new age. I invoke the group of political organizers. I invoke the group of the workers in the field of religion. I invoke the group of scientific servers. I invoke the group of psychologists. I invoke the group of financiers and economists. I invoke all creative workers as the new group. I invoke the externalization of the inner existing of conditions within these groups through the manifestation and the externalization of the avatar. Okay, just relax. Okay, open your eyes. All right, so if you took in what I had to say, then you can understand that the situation at hand and the way people behave has a really bad outcome to it. The China situation, they will, over 1/4 of their population will be elderly and without help. And they will be, by the year 2055, $55 trillion in debt. $55 trillion in debt. In other words, that country will be bankrupt.
And right now, it is sitting as though we have all the slave labor we need, and we got money pouring in, and it's just like we can build all the cars we need, and 1,000 cars. There's 50 Elon Musks in China, you know, all doing the same thing Elon is doing. And he's got all these, you know, I mean, you name it, Etsy, you know, everything that, you know, Alibaba, that guy is so deranged. It's beyond words how far that guy has gone off the deep end. He's 100. He says 996 is a blessing for anybody who does it. It's a blessing. Do it. You got to do it. It's a blessing. We're doing it for the family. Yeah? We're doing it for Alibaba. We're doing it for the family. We're doing it. Yeah? It's just, you know, the amount of lack of compassion and willingness to keep people going forward. You've seen Elon Musk. He says, well, you know, they make 500,000 cars a year in this manufacturing plant in the past. 500,000 cars a year. Yeah. And they had 50,000 people working there. Not 3,000 or 4,000 people doing the job of 50,000 people. You know, along with all the, you know, robots and everything that's there. But the main thing is that it's an extremely harsh, dangerous, overworked situation. And that's how he gets those cars out. It's not by him doing what you would do. You'd hire more people. You'd hire stations of people. You know, those stations of people, they don't just turn one nut. You know, they put the whole freaking motor in. You know? And they're good for this. And they put all the doors on. They're good for this. You know, and once it leaves that station, it moves on to the next station. You know, but it's a full working process. You know, and there's a lot to be done. And the pay is like $30, $40, $50 an hour. Because it's union. And they know how much is being paid for these cars. They know how much profit is being made on this. And they know it should go to the workers. Yeah? Yeah? And in a union, it works like that's the way it was. That's how they made those 500,000 cars back in the 50s in the same manufacturing plant. But not with Elon Musk running the thing. Yeah? It was done in a way that all manufacturing plants were done at the time. Yeah? And if you went back to GM, you went back to Ford, you went back to other places, they went through this hard labor process and broke through it to unions. And then they finally got proper wages, proper hours, and job security where you know, not only was your job secure, but the healing, healthy aspect of the job was there. You wouldn't be put in a position to where you would come out with a bad back and destroyed for the rest of your life. If you go to your union rep and you talk to them, they take you to the doctor, you get taken off that job. But if you don't have this support system that we have to have, which is compassion and empathy, then none of this should be going on. And we did. So we can, and we will. Yeah. So we need to make these cars. We need to do all the things that we're doing, but we need to do it with more people working normal hours, getting paid enormous amount of money. Enormous amount. I don't want Elon Musk to take billions of dollars from people's souls and let them die, sucking their souls dry, turning it into cash. Just so he can say, I'm the richest man in the world. He doesn't even own a home. What the hell does he care? If he is the person he says he is. He says he's so esoteric. He doesn't need a bed. He doesn't need a house. He doesn't have a mansion. Yeah, I got a couple of, very fast flying planes, but I wouldn't get where I need to go if I didn't have that. Well, he actually had many mansions. Yeah. And he had many wives. And each one of them have big mansions with lots of kids. So he's not who he says he is. He may sleep in people's houses. Yeah, he takes advantage. But that doesn't mean he is who he says he is. He's not compassionate. He's not caring. He's not esoteric in any way. Yeah? He's not sustainable. Oh, I don't need a bed. I don't need a house. I don't need all these things. He's got all those things. And more. He wants Mars. Holy shit. What a big house. And he wants you to colonize it. We are over colonization, people. We're over that. Anybody who talks of that shit, they need to be taken back to school. Taken out of the public. Put back in school. So that they can know the harm and suffering that comes from colonization. Yeah? Look at Denmark. They don't own Greenland. They don't own Finland or Iceland. But they sure do act like they do. And they get taxes and they get money. Yeah. And they don't own it. England doesn't own Canada. England doesn't own anything. It's just England. And it's all got to turn out this way. We can't colonize Australia. We can't colonize other countries like Russia's doing right now. We have to see the wrong. Yeah? It's happening. Yeah? This guy wants to do what Russia's doing. Yeah? We can't do that. We can't do that. It doesn't matter what he wants to do. It's what we can't do. Yeah? All right. So, everybody, enjoy, please. Be aware. This shit is coming down. You are going to reincarnate. Make it a better world.